Have you ever wondered how our communication actually evolves? We went from using strict formal tones to using internet jargon, shortcuts, and abbreviations just to give life to our texts, finding ways to pass an emotion that is absolutely impossible to show through flat, plain words. But by using emojis, unique slang, and creative typing styles, our communication suddenly becomes alive, expressive, and anything but boring. It perfectly matches this powerful saying. The digital screen is not where language goes to die. It is where a new generation learns to speak. Good day, sir, and good day, classmates. As you can hear from that opening thought, our group is not here today to give you a boring traditional lecture or to complain about our generation's bad grammar. We are here to celebrate how alive our language has become. Usually, when critics or older essays talk about social media, they treat the smartphone like a graveyard for proper language. They claim texting and TikTok are making us lazy. But our group completely rejects that idea. The way we blend English, Tagalog, and digital trends isn't broken. It is a highly creative, smart adaptation to the fast-paced world we lived in. My name is Del Paulo Maa, and as a team leader, I am proud to officially introduce our nine-member group's case study presentation titled Language and Society, the digital translanguaging of Filipino youth in computer-mediated communication. Turning first to our presentation agenda, please welcome Ms. Shella May Doldoya.
Okay, so thank you, Neil. So to ensure structural clarity, our analysis is organized into six progressive part of academic narrative. So we begin on by contextualizing the digital native generation and establishing our core research problematic. So from there, we will anchor our observation in multi-theoretical foundation. So shifting away from this basic code switching concept toward the more precise framework of transsolizing. So we will then examine our mixed method methodology, which combine rigorous digital corpus analysis with descriptive field survey data. So this leads into direct to our findings. So a formal typology of a digital innovations and micro level deconstruction of real world chat artifacts. So to understand this phenomenon, we must recognize that language is a dynamic social construct that naturally adapt to the environment where interaction happens. So today, that environment is digital. So according to the current 2026 demographic data, the Philippines remains the dense of global hub for computer mediated communication with over 90.8 million active social media users. So this represents that an incredible 78% national penetration rate. So for the youth who inhabit this digital space daily. So online platforms are no longer just super tools for sending message. They are the primary site of modern language evolution. So this space, young speakers actively reshape the traditional phonology, morphology, and syntax. So this reality challenges the old rigid of definition of standard literacy and demand that we study digital communication with serious academic tool. So these rapid evolutions bring us directly to our core research problematic, which will be delivered by Mr. Kent Cordoba.
All right, thank you, Miss Doldolde. So, Nidal is push the statement of the problem, no? The central problem this study addresses are the breakdown of traditional language boundaries. No, while digital language provides incredible speed and personal expressions. No, its constant use creates a significant register lake into formal academic and professional communication. To explore this, our investigation is guided by three core inquiries. No? First is what is specific morphosyntactic and typographic innovations characterize the digital discourse of bilingual youth. No? And the second is how exactly do young speakers use this specialized language as an in a group social boundary marker to build solidarity. And the third, to what extent does this fluid online style create cognitive friction? Friction when students try to transition back into formal academic writing. To systematically address these questions, we establish the following uh, research targets. No, so our general objective is to critically analyze the structural, cultural, and cognitive dimensions of social media language and shaping contemporary youth identify and communication. To hit this target, our study is fulfills for specific objectives. No, first we formally deconstruct the typographic and lexical innovations unique to online space. And second, we evaluate this practice by directly um, applying translanguaging and social identity frameworks. No, and third, we empirically measure the actual communication friction occurring between informal digital habits and standard academic writing requirements. And fourth, we use these insights to propose clear instruction strategies that leverage this linguistic fluidity for learning rather than trying to punish it. No? So now let us look at the media metrics and platform dynamics that back this study, in which will be delivered by Miss si Rosario Dial. No, Dial.
Thank you, Mr. Cordoba. So, platform dynamics. Our background data shows a highly connected cohort to teeny youth aged 13 to 24 make up about 23% of the total national population. Roughly 26.7 million people within this demographic, digital interaction is practically continuous. As we analyze our platform matrix, we see that different spaces encourage different styles of language. Meta's ecosystem, dominated by Facebook at 83% and Messenger at 61%, serves as the main space of synchronous, highly intimacy, peer discourse, and public commentary. Meanwhile, TikTok, with a 67 penetration rate, acts as a highly velocity space of visual memes and hyper localized slang. This data proves that the Philippine digital space is a fully mature. It is an environment where mastering online language functions as a true social currency for young people. To analyze these interactions scientifically, we grounded our research in four major academic theories. Rather than relying on casual observation, our analysis is grounded in four rigorous academic theories. First, we utilize translanguaging theory by Garcia and Wee. This framework rejects the outdated view that Tagalog is just a broken mixture of two separate languages. Instead, it proves that bilingual speakers possess a single integrated and cognitive language system, which they use fluidly for maximum emotional and intellectual precisions. Second, Typel and Turner's social identity theory explains how youth use specialized internet slang as in group boundary marker to signal cultural belonging and exclude out groups. Third, sila Labov and Ferguson's work of diglossia and register variations helps us map the structural frictions that happens when an informal low status digital register leaks into a formal high status academic settings. Finally, Susan's hearings computer mediated communication theory explains how typographic shapes and emojis serve as a vital paralinguistic cues to replace missing vocal tones and facial expressions. Let us examine the methodology used to apply these theoretical lenses, which will be taken by Miss Angela Kalu.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jiao. This study uses mixed method exploratory qualitative case study design. Our method is built on three distinct layers to ensure academic validity. First, we conducted a rigorous literature review of 10 major scholarly sources tracking computer-mediated community discourse and local bilingual practices. Second, we gathered a real-world language corpus by performing a 3-week observation period, analyzing over 50 public comment section and interaction across Facebook and TikTok. Third, to ensure the human element, we conducted a primary descriptive survey among 30 bilingual Filipino students aged 15 to 25. This allows us to measure their self-reported register, shifting habits, and capture their real anxieties regarding formal spelling and writing rules. This brings us to our primary findings, starting to our formal lexical typology. Our research successfully categorized youth digital communication into our four distinct lexical innovation. The first is strication and structural shorthand the complete removal to vowels and syntax operation such as MGL or IMO purely for speed. The second is semantic extension and Western appropriation, where use takes globalized English terms and adapt them to create a local meaning, such as using slay to mean exceptional performance or chronologically online to critique an overexposure to internet ideology. The third is graphemic reduplication, which is repetition of letters like be or true to simulate physical voice inflection and intimacy in text. Fourth is digital translinguing, the fluid integration of English and Tagalog syntax to survey subtle social meaning that neither language could achieve on their own. Now let us see these four elements at work in an actual discourse artifact through Miss Rana Jane Almine.
So, these slides display a raw real-world transcript instructed from synchronous messenger chat between bilingual peers. So participant A writes, Be, nakita mo latest issue? Participant B replies, Oo, haha, grabe, sobrang funny. Participant A described it as a low-key toxic pero entertaining, and participant B concludes, True, chronically online na tayo. So when we look beneath the surface, the underlying linguistic logic becomes clear. So the repeated letters N, B, and true function as an essential paralinguistic replacements for vocal elongation, adding emotional warmth to flat text. So more importantly, look at the formulaic breakdown of their translanguaging. So they systematically use English for conceptual nouns like issue, toxic, and entertaining. So while using Tagalog for structural and emotional modifiers like nakita mo at and sobrang. So finally, the crying emojis are completely subverted. They do not represent grief but function instead as ironic markers of intense amusement. So this conversational interaction clearly demonstrates how language is used to negotiate identity. So a social identity theory highlights these linguistic choices serve a powerful social purpose. So digital language function as a dynamic in-group boundary. By mastering and properly utilizing this fast-moving internet vocabulary, youth claim cultural capital, proving their active participation in a global generation. Furthermore, this fluid blending of English and Tagalog acts as an authentic structural reflection of a contemporary post colonial identity. So, modern Filipino youth feel no friction between global Western influences and their local heritage. Instead of choosing one over the other, they naturally integrate both in a singular, authentic digital self. So, in essence, this language style is a powerful tool for social belonging. Now, let us summarize the clear communication benefits of this linguistic evolution by Ms. Aguilar.
Thank you, Ms. Almini. Our research identify four major benefits of digital style. First, it trains a cognitive flexibility as translanguage requires the brain to navigate and blend two distinct cultural frameworks simultaneously. Second, it provides remarkable nuance modulations using a visual, punctuations, and emoji to create a layers of irony and humor that standard text cannot express. And third, it is a maximized character efficiency, allowing rapid communications text cannot express, and across a digital network. And fourth, it is a build social cohesions, creating a shared informal space and the lower barriers to communication and help maintain the close emotional intimacy across a long geographic distance. However, our study also uncovered a major point of tensions, this register leak, which will be uncovered by Ms. Rizame Batuon.
Thank you, Miss Aguilar. So the register leakage and survey results self-perception. So the real academic challenges arises when the boundaries of the gloss break down. So, because this informal digital language is highly habit forming, it inevitably leaks into formal writing spaces where strict correctness is required. So, our empirical data highlights a major contradiction. While 80% of the students surveyed confidently stated they had full control over the register shifting, a striking 67 admitted that internet slang regularly bleeds into their academic tasks. Furthermore, 43% confessed to feeling genuine anxiety regarding standard orthography and spelling rules. So, this proves that digital habits are actively altering formal performance, causing students to slip up even when they believe they can keep the two styles completely separate. So let us look closer at this tension by examining our survey data. So this data captures that exact cognitive gap. The first bar shows that a large majority 80% of our student group perceive themselves as linguistically flexible and in control of their writing styles. However, the subsequent bar shows different reality. 67% experience slang infiltration in formal essays, and nearly half struggle with spelling uncertainty. So, as researchers, we must look closely at this data. So it must ask that as digital communication becomes our dominant daily mode of writing. So it creates a powerful habit overlap. The fast informal register is slowly blurring the lines of formal writing boundaries. So this brings us to main academic discussion. So are we looking at language evolution or language corruption? So please welcome Mr. Froilan Assis for this.
Okay, thank you, Miss Baton. So, evolution versus corruption. The traditional educational perspective rely on a deficit model, viewing social media as a corrupting force that ruining grammar and literacy. However, our social linguistic data strongly challenge that view. Following the language variation theory, we interpret this discourse not as a corruption, but as a sophisticated evolution. The modern youth generation is not less literate, they are bigrammatically adapted. They have developed an efficient creative system to meet, meet the demands of high-speed digital space. Therefore, the core academic issue is not the digital language itself. The true challenge is the erosion of registry compar- compartmentalization skills. So the goal of language development should not should not be to suppress digital creativity, but to strengthen a student's ability to choose the right language style for the right settings. So, let us synthesize the ultimate conclusion drawn from this investigation to be delivered by our leader, Mr. Neil Paulo Buma.
And thank you, Mr. Assis. To sum up everything we have learned, I want to leave a one final clear thought, something I personally wrote myself to anchor our group's research. The youth are not breaking the rules of grammar. They are writing the syntax of tomorrow. What, what our study has truly proven today is that social media language is a brilliant expansion of human creativity, not a downgrade. Mixing languages online is not just a casual habit. It is a deep reflection of who we are as a modern Filipinos. It is our way of building close friendships and staying connected even when we are far apart. Therefore, when we notice students accidentally using text slang in school essays, we shouldn't just punish them with old, strict rules. We need to accept that the youth live in two different language worlds. As students and future leaders, our job is to understand both sides. We must realize that the digital spaces we use today are simply shaping the future of how the whole world will talk tomorrow. Ultimately, our group wants to leave you guys with this final inspiring reminder. Linguistic freedom is not a lack of structure. It is the birth of innovation. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you guys learned something from us today. And unta nga may mo na siyang reminder nga dili tanan nga innovation, especially creativity, is not tawag nito hindi na siya pag-break sa language grammar or sa syntax, but it is it is a product of creativity and as well as innovation. Thank you. Thank you po.